This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, we'll keep this session. I'll wrap it in half an hour or so. So last class we have seen the second example on the same framework, right? So that looks more or less same, but it will read the second row data in the data pool. Is this the one? Oh, this is not the one. So let's. Yeah, this one. So in this, I am reading the second row that refers to the second test case in the data pool. And all the callings should be same unless and until you want to skip or add some more calls. So that will be test case. We will see the test case writing and all those later, but I will just run this and see because we never ran this. So, okay, so this is supposed to run in Firefox. Okay, so this is completely running a new set of data that is provided in the data pool. Okay, so one way, one person, that's the actual new test case about. Okay, so looks like some exception is thrown or not, or is it waiting? Everything is selected and it should hit the continue button. Yeah, looks like there is an exception. So let's see what is this exception. So this directly goes to the test case. And this won't be of much help because it directly refers to what page is called. We have to dig in and in the page where exactly the line. And this will be the most useful line because this won't be of any help because this is what we created in operations like how to click, how to set text, etc. And that will run fine unless and until the XPath is wrong. So always second from the bottom would be better if you click on it. And most likely that would be XPath issue or data issue. There are only two issues in automation. I mean 90% of the time either your XPath is wrong and or data is not found in the data pool. So XPath looks okay. So my suspicion is on the data returning month. So let's see if this returning month is not there. Okay. So why? Because we actually deleted the returning month for the one way. Remember, and returning is not selected because we are not returning March 19th. This doesn't make any sense. March 20th we are traveling and we are returning on the yesterday. So that doesn't make any sense. But one way is okay because it should not even display returning, right, for one way. But like I said, this dummy, this site is dummy, so it doesn't display the dynamic thing. If you go to Kayak or cheapo flights or other site, it will actually not display the returning when you select it one way, right? So in this case, we will actually have to pause this. There is no other way, given the fact that the site is dummy. So let's re-enter that. So these things you have to take care. I mean, in real-time project, you have to actually talk to developer for this, because according to the requirement, returning section must not be displayed for one-way selection, right? So only if you select round trip, it makes sense if you display both arriving and returning date. But the developer has made a mistake. He's not removing this returning section, returning month and date for one way. So you have to talk to developer and raise an issue, debug, raise a bug in JIRA and assign it to developer. And so all the STLC process, software testing lifecycle, which we'll discuss from next day onward, that will happen. So in this case, it's a bug, and you can actually take care of this from the automation, because one way, if this is selected, then fail it. That's how you say, take care, right? Validation point, extra validation point. So how would you do that? How would you display error, whether when a particular object is displayed or not displayed? Let's say round trip, it's not displaying the returning. So how would you, what would be your approach? Yeah, anybody respond? I mean, what is your idea? Just tell me your idea. How would you proceed?
Can
Am I?
you
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
can you say it again, please?
Okay, I'll repeat the question. Treat it as an interview question. You are in interview. So my question is, how would you verify whether the particular object is displayed or not displayed in the web page? How would you verify that? Okay, so example is I selected round trip, and round trip means you have to go travel one way and return from other way, right? So then you need both returning from departing from and returning date. But I am only traveling one way, right? So then returning is not applicable in one way, because I am not going to return. I'm just cutting a one-way ticket. So how would you verify whether this object is displayed or not displayed? I mean, if it is not displayed, you pass it. If it is displayed, fail it. So how would you verify that?
And we can use the if condition on the
If
If condition, yeah, correct.
and
Then
Boolean also, Boolean.
right, yeah, Boolean is displayed or is enabled. So some stuff like that. So let's see. That's a good point, right? So for the timing, I'll enter the returning month. Let's say I'm returning in March. Let's say 21st, next day itself. Okay, just to avoid the error. Okay, because the dummy site, but we will take care of this issue from coding perspective, programmatically. So I'll show you. And this page is in Flight Finder. So go to page flows, Flight Finder page. Here, Flight Finder is displayed. Okay. So in the Flight Finder, we are dealing with flight details, right? Flight details. Here it is, the function flight details. And I'm coming down all the way till returning section. So these are the three drop downs: arriving in, returning on month, returning on date. Arriving in, returning month, and returning date. Three drop downs. So these arriving in should be okay, because one way you should be departing from one city and going to another city. But returning is not applicable. That's what we are saying. So these two we have to check. If we check one way, so that's all. But we will just fail it and see. So that's okay. Even if we fail it, okay. So here we are just entering the data anyway. So that's why it is failing. because it couldn't find the returning month, null. So it tried to interact with this and it couldn't find the returning month and returning day because the data pool was empty. I just closed it. So that's why. But we will enter it, but we will check and fail it. Let's see. So that has to happen before these entering portion, right? So existence must be checked before the entry. So let's call validate the existence of returning month and date drop down only if trip type is round trip. Okay, so otherwise it should not display. So if condition, okay, so what is the this thing? You have to find this thing. You have to get the existence. So existence is again driven by the driver only. So again same thing goes. So driver dot, first you have to find the element to operate upon it. Even checking the existence is also like an operation. So everything is driven by the driver. So we haven't created the reusable function in the infrastructure, remember. That's why we have to go like older ways. Driver dot find element by dot xpath, and you pass the xpath expression. So xpath expression would be flight finder object, right? And I'll just select a drop down on returning month, returning on month. Okay, so my first check is on returning on month. Now what would be the function I have to enter, right? So dot, okay, so now choose one of these right there. Everything is boolean, top one. Is displayed, you want to go for is enabled, is selected. Okay, so one thing is the developer might display these two drop downs but disable it so that one way ticket people do not have to, should not select it. That is again according to the requirement. So if that is a requirement, I'll choose the is enabled. Okay, is selected is not the appropriate one because it's is selected not selected doesn't make any sense because it's always selected and some default value is there. So is displayed looks like the appropriate choice. So is displayed actually returns true boolean value if it is displayed at all in the web page. Okay, and it will return false if it is not displayed. So we can actually choose this one. Okay, if you want to check more, if at all there are more better choices available, you can just scroll down, but there are no better choices. Okay, so let's choose. These are all enhancements. The basic coding is done, but we'll put enhancements. Okay, so this means if so and so dot is selected, this will directly return boolean. So you don't have to put equals boolean. So directly it is checking like is true or not. So if it is true, then you can actually report, or you can just sys out, but we are actually providing report utils dot report result, or you can just report simple in this case, but because you don't need a screenshot, we just taking the screenshot at the very end of the page, and we already did it. And report simple, and there are integer values and string, so I can take string values. So report comment, if that is returning on month is displayed. Oh, sorry, we forgot. We have to actually read the value of this one also, data pool. Okay, data pool must be, data pool is what? Data pool value should be what? One way or, okay, let's open and see just for clarity. Okay, data pool value should be, what is the data pool key for trip type? Trip type, round and one way. Okay, so we just want to make sure we have to put the exact values. So we need two if conditions, right? If the data pool is data pool dot tc data dot get trip type, right, dot equals. Oh, I did not close it. Okay, there you go. Dot equals. Dot equals what? Round trip. Okay, so round trip. Then, so you can combine these two conditions in one if condition. Like if test data pool is round trip, and the drop down is displayed and using and. Remember that is a logical and. Then you can print pass, report details pass, else fail. Okay, that is one way, but let's not get into the confusion. So let's create two if conditions. If round trip is the trip type, then okay, so this is the outer if, inside if I am putting one more if. So here I am ending outer if. So if round trip is the trip type and the returning month is displayed, okay, then you print it as pass. Okay, so that's my approach. So here I am printing round trip and returning month displayed, which is pass. Okay, we can print pass here. Expected value and actual value, you don't have to, because we already put if condition here. So in this case, actually, we don't even need the simple report details. You can directly put sys out. So let me put sys out, because you already check the condition here. If this is displayed, then we directly print pass. Okay, so we don't need these. Okay, so perfect. And we need returning month and returning date also. So I'll just repeat this within the outer if. Okay, outer if is ended down below. So if returning day is displayed, then returning date displayed, that is pass. Now you have to put a else condition. So now where you want to put it? Let me indent. Okay, so you can easily observe now outer if first round trip is a trip type, then displaying these two will actually pass. I am supposed to be passing those, so I pass them. And where do you put the else? Outside the if, right? If return type is not one way, not round, but one way, so you can put it here, isn't it? And else part will contain again multiple lines, so I am enclosing them in the flower brackets, and just repeat this, but fail them. Else, if returning month is displayed for one way, so now what would you print? Simply fail, right? Or other way around, return month is not displayed. If you take it, it will be different. So same, just to be simple, we are just putting is displayed, and the condition would be non-round trip, that is one way, and failure will be the resultant. And round trip returning month displayed, fail. Okay, round trip instead of round trip, we'll just make it one way. Simple. So fail one way trip, fail one way trip. Okay, so now let's run and see. Second test case, this must fail. Okay, at least we should find two fails. Okay, so let's try and run this. And it's not supposed to throw any issue, because we have actually passed some value. You can pass some dummy value, but dummy value it will not enter. Okay, so because there is a developer issue, we will actually enter and just fail it just for the sake of it. Okay, so where is these errors coming? Let's correct them. PC data dot get. Okay, let's again indent. Okay, so there is a mismatch about flower brackets. So let's see. This is where it is ending, and else portion is ending here. And we are checking here, and we are actually trying to select it, but we got error. Let's see. Okay, it was right here. It was inside. Okay, maybe there is one more. Okay, that was the issue. Okay, got it. So it is ending right here. So just put it inside. Okay, so all set. Let's close it. Now rerun. Okay, so it went further fine without any problem. So that was the issue. But we'll make sure we'll get to failures. Vegetarian credit card number. Okay, for you, if you observe, there are no first name, last name for the second person. So that is taken care by the developer. If there is only one passenger, it's only displaying one set of rows. Okay, so let's see what is the issue. These are all common. You have to debug for every test case. Okay, so there we go. Second row from the down, and first name. Okay, so what is the mistake? We didn't put a condition. If number of passengers is 1, the developer is displaying only one row, right? But we are trying to enter second name, first name to first last name to also, right? So that is a mistake. And even the meal section is also repeated. So these things we have to put conditionally. Okay, now tell me, how would we put condition? Similar to the previous one. Okay, now you first read the data pool, number of passengers as usual. So if 3 times, we will put 3 times. Okay, so the first test case is talking about number of passengers being 2. Okay, second test case 1. Maybe third case test case will speak about 3 persons may be traveling, right? So in that case, you cannot enter first name to last name to forcibly, because there is no display. It's not displayed, right? First name to, obviously it will throw error. Okay, the error is thrown. You can read about that, because it couldn't even find the element. With what? With this xpath, flight object dot text box. So it threw no such element found exception. Remember, so we have to make it conditional. So tell me, what would be your condition? Okay, first we'll start here. If first you have to read the test data pool based on the number of passengers, we have to enter that many sets of names and meals, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? So test data pool dot pc data dot get. Now what would be your key type? Passengers, right? These you have to do on the go. I mean, you should be able to do it. That only comes by practice, you know. Okay, so dot equals, because it's a string, I'm using dot equals. If it is 1, okay, so or we can use a switch case. In this case, instead of using multiple ifs, at least we'll go till 5 members, you know. So you can actually choose 5 members. So first, let me create a string variable. String, I'm getting the number of passengers. Number of passengers from the data pool. So this will be local variable, so that's fine. And this is equals is not necessary. I'm just getting it. Okay, so that would be my number of passengers. Now I will run switch case. Simple makes perfect sense. So key would be number of passengers. It's a string, and if it is 1, okay, case 1 is 1. Now what would the case 1? Case 1 means if the number of passengers is 1, so then how many times you want to enter the details of passengers? How many sets of these passengers will be there?
1.
1. Okay, so you only have to enter one first name, one last name, one meal, right? Now
Yeah.
we will only enter, cut and paste it here. So this. Now let's say for the first test case, number of passengers 2, it would display one more set. Remember, did you remember? We saw 2 sets, first name 1, first name, last name 1 meal, and then first name 2, last name 2 meal again. So if you run first test case, you would see it again. So you can actually do it. Okay, so in that case, what would be my logic? Case 2 has to be defined, right? Case 2. Case 2 means the number of passengers is 2. Then what do you want to do? Okay, so then what you want to do? What should I put in here in between? And then break, of course. You have to break out of the loop. So if case is 1, then perform this and break out of. Okay, you don't need to execute all these cases. Okay, now what is the definition for the case 2? Case 2, how many sets of data you need to enter for the names and meal?
2 set.
2 sets. So what should I do here?
So
I
you
have to enter 2 sets. So how can I enter? What should I copy here? Just tell me what to copy. Do I need to copy this?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, definitely I need the first row. And what about the second row? I need to copy this also, right? 2 sets.
Right.
This is what we did in the first test case. So simply I'm putting the code in the case 2. Let's say I'm just copying the case 3 also. Let's go till case 5. Okay. This is one way, but you can also use a for loop, For loop would be another choice. In that case, all you have to take care of is this first name 3, first name 4. We didn't actually create, you can create those page objects for the X paths for those names also. So let's put it here. Other logic would be to simplify, you can use a for loop instead of using switch case. That would be easier. If number of passengers is 1, okay, for loop 1, just run one time. Run until the number of passengers. For I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to number of passengers, I plus plus. So that would be your logic. You can try that, okay. I'm just doing the old fashioned way. You can try that using for loop. Okay. So let's try case 3. So let's call this case 3. For case 3, all I need to do is just add one more row. Okay, 1, second set, and third set. But we have to make sure we have the first name 3. Okay, so let's first create those here. So there we go. First name 1, first name 2, last name 1, last name 2, meal 1, meal 2, right? So I'll just enter. Okay, instead of this, I'll just jumble this. Control it. Okay, last name 1, these stay together, and meal 1 also goes and stays together. First name 2, last name 2, meal 2. Then I can just copy this and repeat. Here you cannot put a for loop. You have to define these X paths explicitly. There is no other way. So let's call this first name 3 and last name 3. You can try this another test case. Okay, we will stop at 3 only. Okay, so if you want to run for 10 number of passengers, let's say family has 10 members, then try that using a for loop. That would be your homework. It's very easy. You have to use little bit of Java, and meal will not change. Okay, pass 1. Okay, meal also changes. So I am going by this convention. The logic, or you can pattern. Okay, first name 0, last. Oh, here actually 0, 1, right? So this would be 2. Nobody is telling. So you just have to look at the pattern, how it is repeating. I just imagine this, but this should be okay. You can check in the DOM and see. If you enter the 3 number of passengers, then you can see this will be okay, because I'm exactly going by the pattern, and 100% this will work. Okay, so likewise you can enter 4 5 and change the logic there. So let's go and add the number 3 here. We won't get error here if we actually add these variables in appropriate location. Then we can easily find it using the control space. Also you can see the last name 3 will be up here, and similarly you can enter the mail 3. Okay, so now let's try the same thing, because last time when we ran, what happened, it went it actually threw the error exception. Why? Because for the passenger number 1 it's okay, but it was also searching for the passenger number 2 because we forcibly trying to enter this. Now we made it conditional, so now it should not throw. So let's try to run it again and see. The same issue is thrown. Same issue should not be thrown. Let's see. Okay, so for the passenger number 1, yeah, it went fine and it entered all the rest of the details. So successfully executed. There is no exception. You can see these red colors, so that is okay. That is pertaining to the browser type. So in Chrome, we saw some starting warnings, but in case of Firefox, we see both starting and ending warnings. These are pertaining to the listening port and all those, so you can ignore this. Okay, so finally you can print test case ended. Nice, all nice, comments, and let's run for the test case 1 also. It's not breaking, because we changed something and we want to make sure whatever we fix, that is not breaking the existing test case. So let's make sure that also. Okay, so this is for the passengers 2, and okay, so it failed right there. So let's see, something is breaking, so you always better to make sure, drive dot close, that's okay. Why register 22? Okay, so link register. So okay, so it is actually causing issue with the open browser maybe. So let's close it. Let's try it. Okay, it is actually Chrome, right? Chrome browser, so it's not a Firefox browser. Let's see the setup. Fail in the browser. Okay, so you know what, the browser type is Chrome. Where is it mentioned? TC1. Okay, so TC1 browser type, launch browser, null, that's okay. And where is the browser type? Launch browser, that takes browser type. Okay, so browser type actually I made it as
No,
null.
it is a null point exception. So I think the browser
Chrome. Yeah, it is supposed, now it will throw. So somehow it was made null. Even I don't know whether I did it or maybe accidentally it was. Okay, so when browser type is not passed, obviously it will throw error right away. So that makes sense. So you can actually, to avoid this confusion, I'll show you one way. You can just maintain the browser type at one place instead of putting these browser types in each test case. That doesn't make any sense. You will put in a configuration file and read it from there using the property details. And if you want to run all test cases in Chrome, you can just change it there. Let's say I want to run Firefox or Opera. I'll just go and change it in one place, So let's read it from there instead of here. Okay, so let's create data constants, and I put these, right?
Sangam.
Okay. I will actually use, go ahead, tell me, resources for this.
Like if I declare a browser is aesthetic, then I think it will be work too.
No, say that again. I didn't hear your question.
Like if I declare a static WebDriver,
Uh-huh.
I think it will be work too. Same thing.
Yeah, that works because the reason is we are using the launch browser, right?
Yeah.
Statically, if you instantiate like WebDriver driver is called new Chrome driver, it will work. And if you just use WebDriver driver is called new Firefox driver, in the test case, it will work,
Right.
provided you set the system property. But yeah, that is static way. I mean, that is the primitive way, basically. This
Okay.
is using the framework. We are using launch browser. So what I'm trying to get at is, instead of passing this browser type from the from the test case, we'll actually pass it from some file. Okay, so that file would be one file where I can control it. So let's create test data input. This is output, right? So let me create test data input. We can also put it in the data pool Excel and read it, but again, that you have to open that Excel and control it. For the every test case, we don't want to control. Normally you don't run test case 1 in Chrome, test case 2 in Firefox. That's not the way it works. You run all the test cases in one Chrome or Firefox. I mean, depending upon it, using the whatever your TL says you will run. So let's control it from here. Okay, so let's create one property file quickly. So when you want to create a file, just use this file and let's call it, you can call it config actually, config.properties. Okay, because it's a configuration setting, So let's call this config, and here I want to just put browser is equal to Chrome. Okay, so next time you want to run in Firefox, just change it here one time. One change will affect everything. So okay, now how do you read it from here? That's the question. How do you read from a property file? Using the property utils. Same thing. We already have the property utils right here. How to read? We easily can figure out. So all you have to do is just put this file's path in constants. Okay, this is the file path. Okay, so file path. This is the relative file path. This is the absolute file path, because some people are putting in different locations the project, so I am taking the partial, I mean relative, and we already know how to take the user dot directory. So I already created one, so we'll use that variable. So use working directory is given by system.get property user.dit. This automatically gives you wherever the project is, like C drive or D drive, doesn't matter. So all I have to take is append this with my own resources. Okay, so here I have, and let me take this data pool or this thing, test out data, copy it and create and call it test data input instead of output, or let's call it config for that. Okay, so in resources we have created config. So okay, so now let's go ahead and call this. So where do you want to call this in? Where do you want to call this? So where are we trying to control? Here, right now. So I'll take it out. Okay, so for this I will completely take out this browser type. So we will actually underload this. So let's go there. So in our, okay, for the timing I'll just put enter, put null value. Okay, so now I want to refactor this. So how do you refactor? In refactor, in the sense, there are two types of refactors. One is rename, one is overload, underload. That means add, change the signature, add more arguments, or delete arguments, change the return type on all this. So simply, without affecting any functionality, I can simply refactor. This is what you're supposed to do. So there is rename, there is move, and there is one more change method signature. Okay, so let's try to use this. Okay, so how many arguments it is taking right now? You are in browser. So if I want to add, I can add more. Okay, using add. Now I can also edit. If I want to change the type to integer or change the name, I can do it. I want to remove simply. Which one? The browser. So let's remove this. So instead of string URL string browser, it will make it look like it will only accept string URL. If I remove this. This will be the safest method. It won't cause any errors. Okay, so now you can also preview. We already previewed it here. This is how it would look like, and click OK. Okay, so it will say where it would affect browser, and continue. All right, now it will throw issue, but we have to fix it. So if the browser, so let's create a browser type here. Okay, string browser, and where is this browser coming from? Config file property. And how to read the config file? Using the property utils. And there are two functions I created. Forget about this, just to read and write. Okay, read and write, these two actually I should delete. Just look for read and write whenever you want to use property file. So there are only two functions with read and write. So I want to read, and I need to pass the path. So where did I store the path? Just now in the constants. And where is that? Config path, right? This is the one. Data.constants. Just make sure you're calling the right property. Okay, config path. And property name is, what is the property name? Let's see. Property name is browser. This is the property name. And if I pass this, it will return this value, so that it will be entered. So I will just enter the property name browser in a string. Okay, let's see. This is the one correctly pointing. Okay, it's actually pointing to different one. Config path. Let's see. Where did we go wrong? Did we actually, are we in the right place at all? Control A, Control C. I'll do this Control C. Setup. I think it went into other project. Yeah, it went into other project setup. So, okay, so let's actually setup has been changed now. Okay, let me revert
the
it.
constant. There is a config.
Undo typing. Not this one. Setup. I change it in other project. Let's revert it. Okay, no worries. I will revert this. I'm supposed to. Undo is actually okay. That's okay. Once you save it, it will be blocked. Okay, that's no problem. So this is the setup. So let's open this. Okay, so this is the launch, and URL browser type is passed. Okay, so now let's. Okay, let me keep this one open. Close others. Yes, save changes. All right. So let's redo it again. I accidentally, changed the refactor one more time. Okay. So rename move, change method signature, and I'm doing quickly. Browser type I want to remove, right? URL is the only one I want to enter, and remove this, and this is how it would look like. Okay, and continue, and it will throw error here. And I already copied that line, browser copied, and this is supposed to read from the big config. So that's why I was, config path. That's why I was remembering entering capitals, and this is the correct
So
one.
somehow,
And
why is config fed in there in constant?
which one?
Inside the constant class, there is a the config fed. Like which?
Because that was other project I was maintaining. Same project but
Yeah,
different.
but you don't have any other config properties. So
No. If I have same folder and same class, so it would
yeah.
open, because I opened the other test case. It lead to, if I click the link in the other test case in belonging to other project, it will open that particular link. Okay, so that's why I closed all the browsers. Just make sure you maintain one project. So confusion occurs if you maintain multiple projects. So one project is automation tutorial. Don't worry. This
Okay.
is called Selenium tutorial. I am maintaining separately with
Okay.
more details. Okay. So these are unnecessary. There are unnecessary batches and everything. I am just doing R&D all the time. I am just working on it. So I maintain them. right? That's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
So here in this project, so I created a browser type and passed this browser type. So how it works? It directly calls the browser type from the config. Okay. So using property read, and I pass. So if the browser type is Chrome, it will do the Chrome stuff. It is Firefox, it will do Firefox stuff, and all the rest of it. And in the test case, we can easily remove it. So let's go to test case number 1, and because we already properly refactored, automatically it removed. See, earlier it was having one more comma your browser type. So right now it automatically did it for us. Okay. So now the browser type is controlled from one place. And what is that one place? That one place is this place, config. So if you just want to run browser, okay, I just entered, but I did not. Chrome, just put it Chrome. And if you want to enter in Firefox, put Firefox or anything other than this. You can do R&D with other browsers, so like I said, because I cannot show everything to you. You have to do all the Opera, and you can also try IE, Internet Explorer, and you can also try and run on Edge. Okay, so that's for you.
Sangam, I have one question.
Yeah. Let me run it, and you can ask a question.
Okay.
Go ahead and ask. Yeah, go ahead.
In config properties, if I declare like browser 1 equal Chrome, browser 2 equal Firefox, browser 3 equal Safari, so I cannot run it.
Right. Yeah. That's also possible. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. But why do you want to create browser 1, 2, 3? That's my question. There will be confusion, right?
Yeah,
So
but
you want to run all the tests in one browser at a given point of time, right? The
yeah,
reason you want to create browser 1, 2, 3 because you want to run some test cases in Chrome, some test cases in Firefox. Is that the way you want to do? You can do
yeah.
it, but the confusion is you have to enter those browser types in the test case, and if you want to open each and every test case, it will be very cumbersome. You have to modify everything, right? That's the problem. That's why one place update and you're done. That's how it's supposed to be. You can do
Oh,
that, but in some cases, some actually do, like some module you want to run in one module wise, you can do that. So if you want to run one module, what is a module? Module is a combination of test cases. Let's say one module you want to run in Chrome, so you can say browser 1 is equal to Chrome, browser underscore module 1, let's say, and you want to run the module 2 in Firefox, that you can do. So in
oh,
that case, you have to segregate tests into different modules. In this, you have to create module 1 package here and put all those test cases in module 1. That way it will be easier to, that's all your thing. You can play with that and see. You can, this is a basic, and you can add more. I mean, basic and advanced, you can enhance. So all you want to, like all those browser 1, 2, 3, all those are called enhancements, right? So we have done a lot of enhancements today. We have selected the number of, based on the number of passengers, we have selected only those, and we have also taken care about the round trip and one way. So those are called conditions, and those conditions belong to enhancement. So let's quickly run test case 2 also, just to see everything is working fine, nothing is breaking, because we made a lot of changes. Don't worry, I'll share this project in GitHub so that you will get the latest update. And you can play with whichever way you want to. You just come up with your new ideas, and you can just start playing with it. Okay, so I'll give you one more homework before ending the session, because from next session we will start manual testing concept, and that is very important. Before starting automation, you have to write the manual test case and steps, then we'll convert. Okay, so that also ran fine, and we will go to one more test case. Let's say I was talking about this, right? ToolsQA, automation practice form. So this is a good tool. There are a lot of objects inside, like click, link, and text box, radio buttons, date picker. It is not a date picker, but just date. But you have to enter the date, and check boxes, and upload. This will open this. Remember, I showed you how to put all this. What are those? How to enter the, using the robot, you have to enter the path, right? Because this is a non-browser thing. This is a Windows, and you can enter this using keyboard utils dot type any. Okay, so that you can try, you can ask questions, and this will using wget or any, just click on this link a, using a, that will be the XPath /a and all ID you can give it, and checkboxes and drop downs we already interacted. This is a combo box actually. So what is a combo box? Combo box is a multiple selection possible drop down. So in this, instead of just one, you can select multiple. So in this you can only select one at a time. So this also you can interact with using the same thing, select. So instead of one select, you have to use select cell is equal to new select, pass the this web element, and then cell dot. That's what you do, right? Cell dot select by visible text Africa. In this case, in order to select multiple, what you have to do is cell dot select visible text browser commands. Then you want to select again wait commands. Again you have to say cell dot select by visible text. So if you want to select n number of items from this combo box, you have to say cell dot select by visible text n number of times. So that way it will select. That simple. Then this is a button. Then this is text you want to capture using get text property. So then that is one way, and yeah, you can interact with all these elements. This is easy. I mean, there are no like big forms, just one link, one text box, one drop down, one combo box, one checkbox, all these things. So try and interact with this. So I'll just create new test case and give you basic idea, but you can try. Okay, so let's call this
So the same we have to create the object page and everything, right?
say that again, I didn't hear.
So we have to create the like same on face object and face flow also.
Yeah, you have to enter all this then, right? That's right. So you have to enter the page objects, page flows. That is your, I'll give you idea.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I'm not going to do it, because you have to practice,
Yeah.
right? So ToolsQA, let's say this is test case, ToolsQA, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That way we can keep track of numbers. Okay, so in this case, I will just enter the public static void main, because this would be test case. Okay, tell me first things first, what would you do? I mean, apart from page flows, what you are going to do is in the page objects, you go here, just create one page object. I'll create a dummy and you can fill the blanks. All right. So let's call this ToolsQA Obj. That's it. So I'm creating an empty class. You have to fill the blanks. All right. ToolsQA Obj. Okay. So you know what to do. You just go open the DOM and capture and store all these XPaths. Then come here, page flows, and in the page flows, I will create a empty class again, and this will be called what? ToolsQA page. Okay, so again, just like this, just take the reference of this, create a function and define using this op.operations.click operation.setText, and you pass the XPaths driver stuff. So this will be to do. Okay, so it actually you can easily find it. It's at the end of the line, so you can easily find out. So once you do this, come to the test case. I'll just fill the partial to do blanks here. First things first, what would the first step in any test case? Setup. You have to set up, right? What is setup? In the setup, what would you do? Tell me, what is the first thing you need to do? First thing you need to do is fill the data pool, because without data pool you cannot find anything, right? So let's say this fourth line and in fourth row, that is third row actually, that is pertaining to this practice automation form, and let's fill the details. This has first name too. Okay, so in this let's say you just enter tools, last name would be QA, and sex. Okay, we don't have sex, you can add sex, or if you want to add one more sheet like ToolsQA, you can do that too. You have to do, you need to know what way to change in the test data pool where we actually enter this automation. This is hard coded, so if you want to do that, you can do that, but we will just enter here. And this doesn't belong to the demo 8. This only belongs to, you can leave it empty, but just enter male or female. Okay, and years of experience, you can put it here. So if you want to put it at the very end, that's okay, but I'm just putting it here, right? So you can just call X, okay, 6 years, and what else? You can keep on adding, okay? So these are for you, okay? So just add profession and automation tools. What is the tool you want to use? Automation, Selenium WebDriver or QTP. So enter this in data pool, enter the continent, and select, let's say, North America, and Selenium commands that you want to use, select one of those. You can enter multiple, okay? So multiple in the sense using comma separation, but you have to split it using the string utils, and that's it. Those are the fillable fields. Just enter. I just entered few of them. And what would be the first step in test case here? First and foremost, you have to read the data from the test data pool, right? And test data pool instantiation will call the constructor new test data pool and pass the row number. So the row number 3, right? That will read all this. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This will read all this data. Okay. So now import this. And what is the next step? Next step will be WebDriver, right? WebDriver driver is equal to null. Then you have to call the WebDriver and somewhere and store its value. I mean, assign the driver actual value. Right now I'm assigning only null value. So where to actually get the driver value, like Chrome driver or Whitebox driver? Driver equals to, tell me, setup, right? Setup. Okay, so let's say exact, say the test run setup, that's a class name. So setup is a package name. So you have to know test run setup dot launch. Launch will do launch browser and all those things. URL you have to pass is what URL? This URL. Okay, because it's a test case specific, I'm directly passing it over there. Okay, so that will launch based on the Chrome again. If you put Chrome in here where configuration properties, it will run in Chrome. Otherwise, Firefox, that's up to you. You can change values. Okay, so now let's come back to this test ToolsQA test case. And what is the next step after the test driver? I mean, test data pool and WebDriver. What is the next step? Then you simply call page flows, right? Page flows. Let's say you have a function ToolsQA dot practice automation form, right? So in the ToolsQA, let's say I'm just creating a placeholder. I mean function that you have to define later. So in this, you have to create a function called public void and practice automation form. Let's say that's, you have to fill these details, okay? And this has to take driver, okay, because everything is driven by driver. And here you have to fill all these details. This is to do, okay? Fill these details. All right. So let's call this. I'm going to call this just one function. There is no other function you need to call. Okay, so in the page flows, all I'm going to call is which one? Tools. Okay, so one more thing we forgot. What is it? We have to make it static, public static void, because you are going to call static way. If you don't create a static, you have to call in a non-static way. That's the only difference. There is no. That in that case, you have to create a new instance, new ToolsQA. This doesn't make any difference. ToolsQA page dot. There is one function, right? That's it. One call and done. Okay. And what is the last step? If you remember, tell me what is the last step in any test case? Finally, what would you do? Last and final, you have to
Close.
correct. Tear down is what is the term we use. So how do you close the browser? Driver dot close. That's it. So we already did. All you have to do is just fill this detail and this detail. Initially, you have to capture XPath. There will be or 10 odd objects, 10 or 15, not more than that. So just store these as public static final strings. If you want to take a reference, just open one of these and see public static final string and store them. And how do you define it? Using the operations. So just create a static instance of operations and using op dot click link, op dot set text, all these functions you will call inside this. And once this is filled, you can run this. Okay, so this is how you do it. Any questions, any doubts in this new test case? Let's compare once if we missed anything. Okay, so did we miss anything? Just compare and see. I'm referring to the first test case. Everything is there. We just put it in a try catch block. You can put it in try catch block, and we just missed the nice starting log and ending log test case start. So if you want, you can add this. And but formally the first step should be test data pool reading and then driver setup. That's it. Once you do this, all the rest of the steps will be page flows calling. That's what I'm doing. Home page, registration, all this blah blah blah. And then finally close the browser and print this. Okay, so I'm going to add these test case logs in here. So all you have to do is just export capturing and page flows definition. That's all. Okay, test case starts, and I'm going to say this is for ToolsQA, right? And test case ends. Okay, actually this is supposed to be test case ends and ToolsQA. Okay, so let's change it in this also, or not in this, in the test case 1. Okay, so finally test case. Oh, it's already ends. Okay, actually copied. Okay, fine. Okay, any questions? So right now what it will do is, if I run this, it will just open the browser and open that URL. So let's try and do that. And what else you need to do, you will easily get it. This one. Okay, so run as Java application. So it will just launch Chrome and open the URL. That's it. It will throw the exception, but that's fine. Okay, so that's all, because we closed it also. That's fine. So just fill these details. Everybody got the picture, right? What to do? That's your homework. And you can push the same code. I'm going to push this to Jenkins. Sorry, not Jenkins. GitHub, and you can take it from there. Okay, so far we have recorded some sessions, right? I tried to put it in YouTube. So I guess I shared it last time, right? If you did not get it, I will share it again. So just go, I segregated into different sections: database, automation, core Java, software, manual testing. Don't worry, I'll be teaching all this again. So just go there. If you get any doubts, you can just click and watch. All right. So if you want, I can just ping you. Okay, guys. Any more doubts? Let me know. No more doubts. We can end this session. I'm going to just ping this. Yeah, that's a URL. So you can subscribe and click watch.
I already subscribed you.
You already did, right? Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to put some more are there. So I'll just, whenever I get in time, I'm just putting there. So I'm just naming them appropriately. So if, for example, in automation, let's see the view playlist. Yeah, for example, if you want to only learn about, let's say, page object model, what is it? Just click on it. So I named those videos appropriately. So you can, and I sequential, or I put them in a sequential order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can easily find it. So that's all for tonight, guys. And we will start demo session on Thursday. Okay, I think, yeah, I have the course curriculum. I will explain about the demo, what we are going to cover in the new batch clearly, extensively. So that
Sangha,
we will see on Thursday. Yeah, tell me.
is there any like interview session?
Yeah, interview session I will tell in the new batch itself. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that will also cover interview session, how to handle the interview questions, and I'll take up some mock-up interview sessions so that you will be, you will be able to handle them, handle the interviews on your own.
Okay.
So don't worry, I'll cover those in the next batch. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll push these changes to the GitHub. Okay. Everybody got the GitHub account and was able to create your own account and get this, right? If not, tell me. So right now I am committing. Okay, so this commit will actually, what does this have? What does these commits have? Tell me. What did we learn today? Automation framework enhancements, right? Enhancements, and also I just gave you brief intro about new test case. Okay, more or less they are enhancements, like we put some conditions, conditional based operations, and all those. So overall they will be categorized as enhancements. So I'm just putting some comments and commit and push. All right. Okay, so let's see whether the updates are coming here properly or not. And that would be this. Okay, there we go. We got it. So this indicates whatever comment I put, if I get it, that means it's good. We got it. Okay, so same thing. Okay, only 5 people forked. I can see from here. So just fork it. You will be able to see it. And you don't need to use the git bash commands. Command prompt will be harder right now, but I'll cover it in the next batch. So right now, all you have to do is just do the same old-fashioned way. Download zip. Okay. So this will be easiest because zip file will contain everything, and then finally you can unzip it and then import it using the Eclipse import command. So that way you can get it everything. So just make sure you don't change the project name, because project name, if you change, a lot of things need to be updated. You can put this in any location. That doesn't matter because we already made sure, right? The location is dynamically taken. So okay, so I'll end this session today. Anyway, we arrived at 9:39. Okay, guys. So any more questions? Let me know. Otherwise, no more questions. Then good night, everyone. So we'll meet in the next session batch on Thursday, same time, 8 o'clock. All right. Good night.
Right.
Bye-bye.